safety and security continues to be a top priority for the Berks County Intermediate Unit. This work is in partnership with our schools and key community partners. In this video, you will learn about resources available to enhance our safety and security efforts in order to make sure that we're keeping kids safe. Specifically, we'll cover the following topics: All Hazards Plan, CrisisGo, Standard Response Protocol Extended, Bomb Threat Guidance, Threat Assessment Teams, Mental Health Initiatives, Standard Safety Practices, and Building Authentic Relationships. Thank you again for your continued commitment for keeping kids safe.
It's very important that we have a consistent plan in all of our schools. That plan is extended to law enforcement throughout Berks County, so we're all operating using the same guidelines, and therefore each and every response will be consistent as we collaborate on these efforts throughout all of Berks County to make sure that we can do the best job to keep our children safe in school.
We all have a role to play in keeping our schools, workplace, and communities safe and secure. It doesn't matter if you're a custodian, a cafeteria worker, an administrator, a bus driver, a teacher, a member of law enforcement, or a community member. Each and every one of us can be involved in engaging with the student population and helping young people feel connected to each other, to adults, and the community.
We have the Berks County Intermediate Unit All Hazards Plan, which it's available to every school district in the county. Now, they can take that and adjust it as they need to, but overall it hits all of the checkpoints that the government and local emergency management agency wants. So it's the standardized plan that everyone is basically working off of. But taking the all hazard plan and making it into something useful for action at the time of an incident, we have our emergency operations guide that has several checklists for a bomb threat, a fire, medical emergency, those type of things. And we also have that in our CrisisGo application, so that we have, if something happens, the staff knows what to do right away in the next 5 minutes. And we have those tools readily available.
CrisisGo is an emergency communications platform. Schools can use CrisisGo to replace their traditional 3-ring binders with mobile technologies such as smartphones, tablets, and laptops. The other powerful component to CrisisGo is that it facilitates two-way communication between incident managers, school administrators, emergency responders, and school staff. With CrisisGo, schools are able to allow their staff to send alerts with the touch of a button on their mobile device. That'll instantly escalate to school administrators, who will get that message regardless of where they're at. So even if they're out of the building or in another location, they'll still get that alert.
So it's very important that all of us, schools, law enforcement, which include our first responders, are all on the same page. We are trying to get a consistent message to all the schools in Berks County, and we are asking and we are participating in a protocol called Standard Response Protocol. And the Standard Response Protocol will be so that we're all on the same page. It will be a consistent message so that we all know what each other are doing when we have to potentially respond to an emergency in a school or an emergency in the school's vicinity.
So if we want to just get down to the very basics of what somebody needs to do for the first couple minutes during an emergency, is the Standard Response Protocol Extended, which is lockdown, lockout, evacuation, shelter in place, and something called hold, which we've added this year, it's new. And the hold is basically for a medical emergency or something where we want the students to stay where they're at in case an ambulance has to come, or there's something where we want to do locker searches. We used to call it an administrative lockdown. However, when you use the term lockdown, it gives a negative connotation, and this is just a simple, easy method of keeping everybody secure in one spot. And we're basically just looking to have people assess what the bomb threat is and then react, not simply react. So that's about the base. It's one of the bigger changes that we've come up with.
The Office of Homeland Security applauds the efforts of the Berks County Intermediate Unit for adopting the Bomb Threat Guidance Program initiated by the Department of Homeland Security for consideration by Berks County Schools.
CSTAG, or the Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guidelines, previously known as the VSTAG model, or an evidence-based, data-driven set of procedures that school district threat assessment teams follow when considering potential threats for their students, staff, and really throughout their school buildings. So, for example, weapons on school grounds, intensive bullying situations, tips from Safe to Say are all examples of when you would use a threat assessment model. The CSTAG model is the basis for and fulfills the new PA Act 18 threat assessment requirements for training, reporting, and the team of mandatory personnel. So that includes special education teachers, school administrators, SROs, or local law enforcement, your Safe Schools coordinator, nurse, and mental health personnel, such as your school psych, your school counselor, or your licensed social worker. Threat assessment teams are a community collaboration and should include participation from your local law enforcement and emergency personnel. Here at the BCIU, we have a team of trainers that provide full CSTAG trainings and team coaching for district threat assessment teams multiple times a year.
Everyone is concerned about the safety of our schools and our communities and our young people. And now is the time for us to collaborate more than ever. And Berks County, throughout its law enforcement, educational community, the behavioral health community, which includes mental health and drug and alcohol services, is on the same page and has been collaborating for a long time. Ranging from our Keeping Kids Safe programs, to our threat assessments, to our partnerships with law enforcement, our weekly consultations with education and law enforcement around specific issues, as well as our outpatient satellites placed in schools, the collaboration between our DCOR teams and flight teams within our schools when a tragedy does occur, all points to the fact that there are different intersect points that we can all be collaborating on to keep kids safe and to promote their health and safety and to protect our communities. And the key is early intervention, and early intervention leads to prevention.
Yeah, and to balance out safety, it's all about prevention and trying to make sure we get stuff before it happens. However, we don't want to lose focus and leave things open, like leave doors open or not vet people before they come in. I like to break it down into 3 areas to make it simple. The outer perimeter, and that's where the school property starts. Is it clearly defined so that someone knows as they step on the property, I'm on school property. So our staff knows if someone's on school property, that it's school property. That we have clear signage to visitor area, clear signage, this is the door you go in, and it's one door. Then the next perimeter is the building perimeter. And simply, are we propping doors? Hopefully not. If all the perimeter doors are locked at all times, we're in good shape there. And then the final perimeter is the interior perimeter. So keeping doors locked. No bad guy has made it past a locked door yet. So that's really simplifying it, but in the whole big picture of things, those are the 3 big items if we can keep in mind. If we can get those 3 items pretty much secure, we have a very safe building.
Authentic relationships are at the core of keeping kids safe. We are so fortunate here in Berks County to have the support of our local school districts, our community partners, in a relationship where we listen to each other, there's mutual respect, and we have a common goal, which again is keeping kids safe.
The relationships between the people who intersect and touch the lives of our kids is extremely important, whether it be the coach, the policeman who is maybe providing extra security service at a sporting event, our educators who are in a key position and oftentimes spend more time with our children than we as parents do, as well as our therapists and counselors who interact with people. All serve as safe zones for our children to seek help, tell us what's going on, and turn to us for our problems. Our role is to provide alternatives, given our life experience, to our children and our young adults as they're growing. And that teaches them that no matter what happens in their lives, there are alternatives to extreme actions that they may take or be contemplating. And it also enjoins them to help us to care and look at their peers so that we can help them also.
The relationships really guide the passion for knowing what your students are about. So it's learning the background of the students, knowing when they're having good and bad days, knowing when something could be a trigger or potential danger, and really kind of being observant and aware of when students are not having good days or when their disposition or demeanor has changed in some way, and then being able to report that to the appropriate personnel to help get them support before an incident would happen.
It is very important that we are speaking to each other. Schools, law enforcement, the district attorney's office, we're all working together for one reason only, to keep kids safe. That's the most important thing that we can do for our community, is to make sure the young people, the vulnerable people, are safe. And we want to do everything we can to work together to keep our children safe.
Thank you for your continued commitment in keeping kids safe. As you learned from this video, there are several components that go into creating a safe classroom environment and work environment. We are very fortunate to have key partners that support us in our safety and security endeavors. Together, we must be committed as one, not only in Berks County, but across the Commonwealth, to ensure the safety and security of our students that we serve on a daily basis.